Hey everyone, it's Jax again from the Popcorn Review Podcast. It's going to be my episode 45, AEW Dynamite recap. This is going to be for 7/23. So this match here, or the way it started off actually, was they showed like a recap of what happened on Collision. Apparently the Death Riders actually choked out Colt Cabana, which is one of Hangman's friends or allies. So they kind of ran it back, if anything. So he's trying to take down everybody, Hangman at least. So apparently he had challenged Yuta, or maybe that's just the match that came about. But him and Yuta are set to start off Dynamite. And before he comes out, MJF actually has a couple words with Hangman, like, hey, what are you doing? How about you give me a match? I don't even need this contract to beat you. Kind of like trying to get into Hangman's head. And Hangman's go, stop being a coward. Either you earn a spot to wrestle me with getting wins, or you cash in that contract. You're not getting a free ride with me. That's not how it's going to work. Stop being a coward and do one of those two things. But I know you're not, so don't worry about it. I don't got to worry about you. And just dismiss MJF altogether. Now, Yuta, we thought Yuta was waiting in the ring. Hangman comes out, does his little thing, and Yuta actually attacks him from the back. This match, honestly, kind of over the Death Riders. I've said it before. Didn't care about Moxley's bit. The Death Riders, I'm surprised, are still together, still holding on. Um, Yuta goes in there pretty fast, starts hitting him from behind. The match gets started. And to be honest with you, Hangman just beats him pretty fucking fast. This was a quick match, honestly. Um, I would say no more than 7 minutes. If it went more than that, maybe it was just that fast to me. I didn't pay attention to how fast the match was, or how fast the match actually was. Honestly, he beat him up pretty bad. He's about to leave the ring. He brought the chain with him to the ring, and he just starts beating. He wraps his hand with the chain and just starts hitting Yuta there. Yuta starts bleeding from it, and he's like shaking in the ring. And he turns to Yuta before he leaves, and he was like, "You see, the Death Riders don't care about you. No one's coming to save you." This is the same thing Bryan Danielson has been telling him for the last few months last year, or the beginning of this year. Or no, last year, yeah, because Mox had it for a title, I think, for a year now. The Death Riders don't care about you. And this is just showing that again. The Death Riders do not care about Yuta. No one came to save him. He was just sitting there in a pool of his own blood. Um, Throughout the night, you did have Athena trying to get into Billy Stark's head, trying to coach her up, trying to get her to, beat up on Tony Storm. And, almost like a drill sergeant, like, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna win. No, I don't care about you winning. I just want you to hurt her. I want you to take Tony Storm out. So she pretty much put her minion Billy Starks there to go after Tony Storm and just take her out so she could have an easy win. So we'll see how it plays out, honestly, guys. But you know, you did have FTR there versus Jet Speed, and it was actually pretty crazy. They're doing it like an eliminator tournament to see who wrestles at Forbidden Door against, I think, the Hurt Syndicate, if I'm not mistaken. So FTR, they were there honestly, and they wrestled Jet Speed. Stokely's over there with crutches. As much as I like Jet Speed, we all knew that the FTR was going to win. It's actually a pretty good match. I like the when I see Kevin Knight, doing his UFO. It was blocked, to be honest with you, at one point. He did the standing UFO on the ground, but he went for the off the top rope. He was blocked there. Took a knee to the face or a foot to the face, and then that's when they took advantage. He rolled up Kevin Knight with the assistance from Stokely Hathaway, holding on to his what was it, his crutches there. So they stole that win, and it is what it is. Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of weird that they wrestled again. They're trying to build up FTR, so we'll see how it plays out. Looks like throughout what happened throughout the night, though. So I'm trying to get to that. So sorry if I'm rambling on, but FTR wins. They start talking shit. Stokely start talking shit first off. Like, he shouldn't be saying anything. You got drilled. You're not a wrestler really, or you're not a wrestler anymore at least. But Stokely was talking how, you know, Cope got to stay away. Cope's music hits, and he goes, "Hey, you're not allowed to be out here." He's like, "You're right. I can't be out here, and I can't hurt you." He goes, "But I did hire a few guys who can hurt you for me." And then the Hurt Syndicate music hits. They come out. Honestly, I thought they might have jumped Copeland, and then the 4 or 5 of them were going to be jumping on Copeland. But apparently, they had a little contract or negotiation, and they paid him enough that the Hurt Syndicate was like, "Bet." They go after FTR and whoop FTR's ass. Cope kind of slides by. He goes to spear Stokely Hathaway, but he pulls one of the guys in, or one of the security guards in. So the security guard got tackled, or speared rather. So that's probably going to be a fine or a suspension on Adam Copeland. So we'll see how it goes. But, you know, the Hurt Syndicate actually worked with Adam Copeland there. So are they turning face? Or is it the demise of MJF and the Hurt Syndicate? We'll have to see, guys. But he did do that, and you actually after that you had what's his name, MJF kind of confront. You had MJF confront what's it called, the Hurt Syndicate. He's like, "Hey man, what the hell's going on? We're cool with Copeland now. Like, it took me months to get into here." And they're like, "Yo, chill the fuck out." And then finally, MVP takes the belt off of Bobby's shoulder, and Bobby just grabs MJF and just hooks him against the locker. He was like, "You know what? I'm tired of you. All you do is talk about yourself. All you do is worry about yourself. You're not here to help us. You're here to help yourself, and we're done. We're not helping you no more." Well, I did say that was going to be a short-term relationship. It looks like it's breaking down a lot faster than I thought. This might be where MJF cost those guys the tag team titles, trying to help, or purposely screws them over. So we'll see how it plays out, honestly, guys. I did mention in previous episodes that I don't see MJF being there long term, and it seems like it's playing out exactly that. So maybe he screws him over at Forbidden Door. FTR is in the next round. FTR just got beat down by the Hurt Syndicate because Cope paid them to do it. So it's very possible MJF could break off from that group, rejoin with FTR, and do the Pinnacle once again. They don't have everybody, but they'll have the Pinnacle. Maybe this when Wardlow's come back and joins MJF again, even though they have problems. The last story we heard, he joined the United Kingdom to chase after MJF. But Wardlow, we haven't heard from him. Maybe he'll join the Pinnacle and be MJF's muscle for a time. But we'll see. As of right now, the Hurt Syndicate is not looking strong. I just can't wait to see that to fall apart. Bobby Lashley, even if he loses the tag titles, they're going to push him to the moon. I see Bobby Lashley within the next 2 years being the AEW World Champion. I just do. He's that good. He looks amazing. He's fucking monster in the ring. Like, it's just insane to me that they haven't pulled the trigger yet. I see it happening. The next 2 years, I see Bobby Lashley being the AEW World Champion. I see that for sure. But a sad story that came out. Will Ospreay is injured. He said he had like 2 discs in his neck or something to that effect that were like hitting his spinal cord. So he's got to take some time off. He said with surgery and therapy, he should be good to come back by Forbidden Door. So we just lost, what's it called? Adam Cole at All In had to relinquish the title. And now we have to worry about Will Ospreay. I don't know if Will Ospreay, this is true or not. Adam Cole, you definitely saw the tears running down his eyes. He was very emotional, even though Will Ospreay looked emotional because he looked uncertain. But if he's saying that he's going to be ready for Forbidden Door, they might just be holding him off, taking him off screen, and then he'll make an appearance and wrestle somebody or save somebody. So we'll see. I'm very optimistic. Hopefully he's not injured because right now he is the face of AEW. Even though he's not the champion, a lot of people like Will Ospreay. So hopefully he comes back stronger than ever and continues to put on tremendous shows. You had a small little segment with Julia Hart rather, Sky Blue, and Tekla. They kind of got their group. They called themselves the Three, so I'm assuming that's what they're going to be called, the Three. When you see us three coming, so they kind of look like witches when they were talking, how they were saying. So we'll see how it plays out, honestly. But they're forming a group. We'll see. I know Julia Hart. Everyone's behind her. Everyone likes her. She's homegrown with AEW. She could possibly win the TBS championship again. or maybe move up to Tony Storm and try to take that title. But we'll see how it plays out, guys. That group's going to be something to deal with. Not a lot of women factions, to be honest with you. So it's kind of nice to see that. Kind of weird they put Tekla in there so fast. She's only been there for a couple weeks, and boom, she's already in the group. But we'll see how it goes, guys. Those girls together are going to do some damage. Tony Storm and Billy Stark did wrestle. Good match, honestly. I've only seen Billy Starks wrestle a couple times, but from what I saw today, her and Tony Storm had good chemistry. Throughout the match, though, Athena was watching from the balcony. It's like Tony Storm and her taking turns going to the balcony every other episode, or Collision or Dynamite. So she's over watching, and throughout the match, you kind of saw Billy kept looking over to her, like trying to get her acceptance that, yeah, am I doing good? Like she wanted two thumbs up or a pat on the back. So that kind of slowed her down, honestly. But Tony Storm pulls it off, even with everything that's going on. She pulled it off. A good match between the two. They had decent chemistry. Um, but then, you had Billy kind of hit her over the back or the head with the title when, the referee went to give it to Tony. And then she calls down and feeling like, come on, because it's a smaller venue, not that much of a walk or run that she had to take to get there. But you had the ref kind of like trying to stop Billy, like, yo, what are you doing? And she pushes the ref out of the fucking ring. So even though her minion tried to get her boss, Athena, into the ring, she kind of knocked out the ref. So she kind of fucked up. Well, when she gets in the ring, she starts hitting Tony with the fucking little case that has her contract. And she's hitting her. Billy goes, wakes up, the ref, and before she could actually cash in the contract, you had Alex Windsor. Apparently, she's wrestling Athena for the Women's Ring of Honor Championship. So she comes in to makes a save. So Athena was not able to cash in her Casino Battle Royal contract. So that's still up in the air. But Billy Starks did fuck up. She knocked out the ref. Now the ref was kind of disoriented. You know how they be doing, like, oh shit, I'm fucked up, and she kind of fucked over her own boss, if that makes sense. But decent wrestling match between the two. We'll see how it plays out. Honestly, you had Swerve and Hechicero, and this is almost like the Don Callis family trying to slow down Swerve before he can get to Okada, because Okada said that, Swerve, you're on my hit list. What you did to my Bucks, I'm coming for you. And Swerve was like, what the fuck you gonna do about it? But decent match with Hechicero and Swerve, to be honest with you. You saw how it was a little slow between the two. Like, I think this is the first time they wrestled, so you kind of saw them talking to each other. And I think they had the match kind of like they just winged the match, honestly. But it was a decent match between the two. Even with the language barrier, they did well together. But this match wasn't to beat up or, slow down Swerve. This was just to fuck Swerve over and try to injure him before he can get to Okada, because this match ended in a DQ. Swerve technically won, but he got attacked by the entire Don Callis family. But before Okada could drop Swerve on the steel chair, he actually gets the better of him and knocks him out. So that did happen. Unfortunately, Brody King and Bandito actually saved Swerve, so that kind of happened too. It was like Bandito and Brody King are kind of like partners right now. The Hounds of Hell are kind of gone. They're not doing nothing. Julia Hart's not there. Buddy's missing as well because he's injured apparently. So that group fell apart pretty fast. But Brody King's kind of finding himself as a face. He's teaming up with Bandito. Those two guys are pretty good as a tag team. But we'll see at some point. Brody King gonna want some gold around his way, singles gold. So he might turn on Bandito in the future, guys. But we'll see how it plays out. As of right now, Bandito and Brody King did save Swerve. So that was nice to see. Now, Ricochet had a small interview with Renee in the back. And Renee went to say, oh, Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. And Ricochet goes, no. Just call us Ricochet and GOA. So Gates of Agony. He kind of shortened it. Ricochet and GOA. That's not that bad. GOA, shorten their name, Gates of Agony, GOA. I'm not mad at that. I'm actually okay with that. They all look good, though. They were all wearing like the little vests with their chain, their sunglasses. They look fresh, Not sure where Ricochet is going with this. Hopefully they help Ricochet win some gold. But like I mentioned before, the Gates of Agony kind of turned on everybody they teamed up with. They rejected Swerve. They rejected Brian Cage. Every time I've seen them team up with somebody, they've rejected their leader. So Ricochet, Hopefully you're ready for that, because these guys at some point, if they're not getting their way or they're not liking where things are going, they're going to turn on you as well. But that is just want to talk about Ricochet a little bit, because again, you know, a lot of people have actually reached out to me that, hey, like, what's going on with Ricochet? So I'm definitely going to talk about it. But you did have a weird match there with Mark Briscoe and Claudio that keep using the Death Riders. You know, MJF was in the ring. He kind of gets interrupted by Briscoe, because Briscoe's supposed to have a match that night. Briscoe again, Tiny Pickle, starts talking shit about MJF. MJF starts talking shit about his brother. So those two guys are going to feud somewhere. This is going to continue to go on until somebody's a final winner. It could be that maybe he saves Hangman, Briscoe saves Hangman when he's trying to, you know, when MJF is trying to cash in that contract. So we'll see. Maybe he'll cost him the match that he can't be champion, and he moves past, you know, Hangman moves away from Ricochet. But Claudio and Briscoe do have a match. Hard hitting match, honestly. Briscoe was chopping the shit out of Claudio. Like, Claudio's red was his chest was physically red. Like, it looked bad. Like, he was just fucking him up. But Briscoe does win that match, you know. He wins the match with like a quick little roll up. But again, the match was pretty good. They were going back and forth on each other. Once Briscoe wins, though, the entire Death Riders come in and attack. And they about to choke him out again. Hangman's music hits. He comes straight up to Moxley, not scared, no fucks given, walks right up to Moxley, face to face, and goes, "This got to end. I want you in the match. I'll give you a rematch next week on Dynamite. Everybody barred from ringside unless they're a ref. You and I are going to end this next week." So, Hangman Adam Page, champion, versus the challenger, Moxley. No one allowed at ringside, only the referee. Maybe this would give Moxley a little break. You know, he hasn't had a break in years. Every time he was set to take a break, we had the issue with CM Punk. We had the issue with individuals getting hurt. So Moxley needs a break. Maybe he needs to rebrand. Maybe this is when the Death Riders break apart. But we'll see how it plays out. Next week on Dynamite, you are going to have our champion, Hangman Adam Page, versus Moxley. No one allowed at ringside except for a ref. Let's see how it goes. I see Hangman winning it, but maybe MJF might rear his little neck in there and try to cash in, but we'll see, guys. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great one.